Hello Thrones fans and welcome to another series of my Thrones reviews, Game of Thrones reviews that is. We have a new season, which means we have another 7 episodes where we will be reviewing each episode individually each week. And also I will be doing an 8th episode to wrap up my thoughts of this season. So I just want to issue a quick spoiler alert. Obviously if you haven't watched episode 1 of season 7, don't watch this review. If you haven't watched any Game of Thrones, what is wrong with you? Go back and start from the very beginning and enjoy it because it's a fantastic show. And if you're just looking for a recommendation of the show and you thought that this would be a good place to start, I would say don't bother watching my review, go and watch it because it's the best show on television. So yeah, if that wasn't enough to entice you in, let's hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you enjoyed this review. Let's get started. Let's take a look at the title of the episode before we start the review itself. So the title was Dragonstone. So I assume obviously the reason why it's called Dragonstone is because Dragonstone was mentioned by several characters. It was mentioned by Sam. It's mentioned by who else? Oh, Jaime Lannister as well. It's mentioned obviously. It's where Daenerys arrives at the end of the episode, but we'll look at that more later on. So yeah, basically, Dragonstone was central to the plot this week, which is probably why it was called Dragonstone. And my 5 words or less to sum up my review, basically, which is what I do at the beginning of every review. If you're not familiar with how it works or how my review series works, so my 5 words are under this week. I have 3 words, which is an average beginning. Because, well, you'll see as we go through the review why I think it's an average beginning, but yeah, that's basically my overall summing up of the episode. So before we look at some of the key places this week, because that's what I normally do in my Game of Thrones reviews, I started it last year in that format and I'm going to continue it this year, we're going to look at the pre-credit sequence, because obviously that was one of the most important part of the episodes, and probably my favourite, I think, scene of the entire episode was that. So there was the feast held by, apparently, or presumably by Walder Frey, which obviously had me very confused. I read a lot of reviews and a lot of articles and a lot of comments on Facebook and Twitter and things like that, that everyone was so confused by that point, because we were all like, is this Walder Frey? He was killed by Arya Stark at the end of the last season. It was a bit weird. Yeah, it was just a bit odd, really. That was what I was a bit confused about. And obviously, as we slowly understood what was happening, because obviously Walder was calling the phrase brave for slaughtering the Starks. You know, he said about killing a pregnant woman, you know, killing a mother of 5, obviously referring to Catelyn Stark. It was a bit, I don't know, it was very, very sudden reveal, and I think the reveal was, it seemed almost as if they were trying to go for that sudden reveal, but to me it felt very slow and very, you know, they took their time over it, and I really enjoyed that. So Arya's reveal, when it finally happened, where she pulled off her Walder's face and you saw Arya Stark underneath, that walk of victory was really, really amazing, and it really mirrored Sansa's walk of victory and the smile that she gave after she killed Ramsay Snow at the end of the Battle of the Bastards, which was episode 9 of season 6. It really, really, really worked well as an opening sequence, and it really just led into the credits, and I was just shocked already by, you know, I was hooked, I was back in that world, I was there, I was so rooting for Arya's character that, you know, I almost ignored the pre-credit sequence because I was just trying, the title sequence, because I was just trying to work out what I'd just seen. So the first place we're going to take a look at then is down in King's Landing, which is obviously the capital of Westeros. So this had Cersei and Jaime talking while standing over the painted map on the floor, which Cersei has basically commissioned, I assume, between season 6 and 7. Why she's done that, I'm not entirely sure, because as Jaime said, he can memorise pretty much every single town, city and river and mountain in Westeros, which I think a lot of us can, having seen the show and been with the show for so long now. But I suppose it was quite good for making us realise how much Cersei is alone, because being able to visually see where the enemies are coming from really helped me personally to actually realise, oh, she's on her own. And Jaime's quip about her being the queen of 3 kingdoms at best, as opposed to all 7 of them, was very, very good. And I think that really shows that he even is unconvinced by her power or by her conviction that she is the true queen. Euron Greyjoy's sudden appearance, actually, I think, at King's Landing, when we hadn't really seen the invitation being sent. Obviously, he offered Cersei marriage, which was all a bit of a weird storyline. I don't think it was really played out as well as it could. I really like the actor who's playing Euron Greyjoy, or who is Euron Greyjoy. He's been playing him since last season, he's still playing him now. And I really like the actor. He's a brilliant actor. He's just really, really good, and he's like quite creepy in some cases, but he's also really, I don't know, he's quite convincing as the character. I don't know his name. He's Danish, I think, but he's really, really good. Obviously, Cersei didn't accept the marriage. That is a bit of an odd one. So now Euron is leaving and promising to return with a gift. What is the gift going to be? Is it going to be Tyrion? Is it going to be, I don't know, maybe one of Daenerys' dragons, possibly, if he's going to be able to tame a dragon? I think he's convinced that he's going to be able to get Daenerys', he's going to destroy Daenerys' forces with his Iron Fleet, which you can see why, because it's a very big, he's got a lot of ships. I don't blame him for having confidence in himself, but it's just, I don't know. I don't really think the Euron storyline is that clear at the moment, but we've got to obviously let it play out over the season. We've still got another 6 episodes left, so it's got to be, we've got to see where it goes from there, I suppose. Following on from this, we've got the twins and the Riverlands. So there we have Arya meeting Lannister soldiers with the annoying and now infamous, not so subtle Ed Sheeran cameo, which, by the way, I'm not even going to mention because I'm just so fuming about it. It was completely pointless. And we realise Arya's intentions in that moment is to go into King's Landing and kill Queen Cersei Lannister, which obviously gets a good laugh from the soldiers and from the audience as well, I think, because we realise that she's very ambitious, and we love that about Arya, but she's very unlikely to be able to kill Cersei alone. And then also we have Sandor Clegane's, obviously he's travelling with the Brotherhood without banners, and his prophecy in the fire that he saw shows that the White Walkers are heading south. That was a really interesting scene to see Sandor Clegane sort of interacting with the Brotherhood without banners in a way that we've never seen him sort of interact with anybody before. It was almost quite harrowing to see the Hound turn back into Sandor Clegane as opposed to this monster, this killing machine. He's turned into a really compassionate person, I think. Not obviously really compassionate, but he's a lot more compassionate, which was shown, I think, through the burying of the 2 bodies that he murdered back in season 4, the farmer and his young daughter. And it was a really good change of character for him, and I really, really liked seeing that different side of Clegane, of seeing Sandor Clegane, his different side, and I really love the fact that we have now a new character almost from him. So thirdly, we're going to look up at Winterfell. There's quite a lot went on this week at Winterfell in the first episode. So that was obviously Jon ruling Winterfell with sort of Sansa. I don't really know what Sansa is, whether she's sort of a sideline ruler or what she is, but obviously he pardoned Alice Karstark and Ned Umber for their father's crimes, and basically asked them to bend the knee, which they did. But Sansa obviously objected to that because she wants, whatever she wants. She wants people to actually be rewarded for loyalty and not rewarded for treason, which was a bit of annoying. She really annoyed me a bit actually in this episode, but I think she does this, Sansa. I really liked her last season, and then she's annoying me at the beginning of this one, which is a bit. Obviously Jon wants everyone to be trained to fight, including the girls, which also gave us a lovely little bit from Lyanna Mormont. Again, she was brilliant at that scene. I can't remember the actress who plays her, but she's really good. Jon and Sansa discussing Sansa undermining him was really well played, I thought, and actually the 2 actors, Kit Harington and Sophie Turner, really played well off each other, and she tried to obviously warn him about Cersei. Jon is having really none of it, because he's really convinced that the Night King is more important than Cersei as an enemy, and actually Cersei is probably one of the biggest enemies he's got in the 7 Kingdoms. Probably Cersei and the Night King are on par with each other, but obviously he doesn't want to see that. Littlefinger also tried to make sure that Sansa was safe and happy. She shuts him down, which was really good. I thought that really showed her strong character that's coming through again. And she tells Brienne that she can't send Littlefinger away because she needs Jon and her really need the Vale's troops for safety and protection in case Cersei does decide to attack. Obviously, the Vale is now under Littlefinger's control since the death of Lysa Arryn. Robin Arryn is sort of, he should be old enough probably now to take over, but he's a bit weak, so probably Littlefinger taking over the Vales, the control of the Vale, sorry, is probably better than having a weak child in control of it. But that's another really thing we have never really addressed in the show, is why Littlefinger now controls one of the kingdoms, one of the 7 kingdoms pretty much. He's now Lord of the Vale, and that's never really been addressed as to why he should get all the power and other people should be left out. But, you know, there we go. So we're just going to look briefly at Beyond the Wall. I've used the wall title sequence bit for that because obviously it's easy as you use the wall. There was White Walkers, and the Whites were marching south, led by the Night King, and they also have White Giants now, who we wouldn't know were dead. So they're dead giants who have basically risen up, and that's quite amazing because to see those walking around, you know, you're going to be scared of those things. I mean, I was frightened, and I'm not even in the program. You know, it's great to see them. Just, you know, it's great to see different things happening in this show that still can shock and surprise us. That I love that, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they get used in later episodes. And also Bran and Mira have arrived at the wall, and Dolorous Ed has allowed them through. We obviously it'll be interesting to see what happens now they've gone through the wall. Obviously they'll be staying at Castle Black. We'll probably learn Bran will probably learn that Jon Snow is now Lord of Winterfell. He'll probably head south to Winterfell, and then we'll have a big Stark reunion, which has been promised through many photo shoots actually for season 7. So that'll be quite interesting to see if that actually comes into fruition this season, or maybe even in season 8. So we're going to look at Old Town as well now, which is a new location for this season, where it was in season 6, episode 10 a little bit, but actually it's more prominent this season. I think it's going to be a bit more prominent because it's also got its own title sequence montage, which you'll see now. Let's talk about Sam's montage of chores, which was shown actually this episode. It was fairly boring, let's be honest. It's probably it's more of a wonder to me that 60 hours into this program we still have time for montages that are pretty much pointless, which we could quite easily skip over and just show that Sam is bored of his job already by just having one cycle of that day. They did a similar thing in Gotham actually in season 2, which I was a bit annoyed about, but that's in the past. We're in season 3 now, Gotham. Anyway, Archmeister Ebros, whatever you want to call him, played by Jim Broadbent, who played him very well. I'm very impressed with Jim Broadbent already this season. He's only just started in his role. He believes Sam basically about the White Walkers, which is good. Because obviously it's great that Sam's got someone to believe in him and actually understand what he's talking about, but he does deny him access to the restricted areas of the library, which is where Sam needs to go to get information about how to defeat the White Walkers. However, Sam steals books from the library, from the restricted section, and identifies that there's a dragon glass mountain under Dragonstone, which is apparently Stannis told him about it before, but I don't remember that in the series. If you know where that is, can you comment below and just let me know what episode it's in, if you know what episode it's in. If not, just confirm whether it did or didn't happen, because I don't think it did, but I can't remember that far back. I haven't rewatched the series in a while, so that'll probably be somewhere in season 5, I'd have thought, because that's when Stannis is at the wall and it's before his death, so I'd assume that's when it is. Yeah, and basically Jorah is also at Old Town, and the Greyscale is a lot worse, and he's asked Sam if Daenerys has arrived. Daenerys hasn't arrived, so Sam tells him he hasn't heard anything. It's a little bit of an odd... I don't know why Jorah's quite there, and I don't know what Jorah's role is going to be in the rest of the season, so I guess we'll have to see what happens with that. But at the moment, I can't quite understand how Jorah's got from being over in Essos, and now he's in Old Town. I don't quite get how that transition worked. But they didn't really explain that, and that's one of my main pitfalls of this episode, is that a lot of things aren't really explained that well. So yeah, it's more that it's just a continuity error, I think, in this episode that's my problem with it. And finally then, before we start to wrap up this review, let's look at the ending, or the events on Dragonstone. So Daenerys has arrived at Dragonstone. Finally, it's taken us 60 hours to get to this point, or 61 hours if you include last episode, or Monday night's the first episode of this program. She entered the castle with her advisors and pulled down Stannis' banner in the throne room, which I thought was really, really good, or just before the throne room I think it was. And she enters the war room with the war council room, sorry, with Tyrion and said, "Shall we begin?" which ended the episode, which actually gave me shivers, that line. But I don't know, that whole sequence was just a little bit drawn out, and the whole point, there was no dialogue, there was music, which was beautifully done. Ramin Djawadi is a fantastic composer, and he really did it well, but the actual fact there was no dialogue until the end, literally right at the end of the scene, really didn't really sit well with me, and I was really a bit disappointed that we didn't get more of an exposition in this scene. Like, there was no sort of, I mean, I suppose the whole thing is that she's in awe, we're in awe that she's finally arrived. Daenerys is just sort of coming to terms with the fact that she's on her home, she's on Westerosi soil. The last time she was at Dragonstone was when she was born, then she moved to Pentos, and she's been at Pentos most of her life. Then she's had this whole thing where she was sold to the Dothraki, but I don't know, the whole scene to me felt a little bit, I don't really know how to describe it, but it wasn't quite as satisfying as it should have been. The fact that she's now finally arrived in Westeros, and everyone's now on Westeros ready for these final battles to take place for the throne. However, that was just my opinion. You might have had a different one. Comment below if you have got a different opinion. Yeah, just let me know what you think about that scene. So now we're going to start the entire review. My overall conclusion about this review was about this episode, sorry, was that it was a good opener to the season, but it had a few continuity errors in it, I think, possibly, that weren't really explained really well. How some characters got to different locations where they suddenly appeared and we didn't know where they got there. Jorah is a good example of that. The first 5 minutes were obviously the best, I think, or the first 5 minutes roughly, where the pre-credit sequence was the best bit of the whole episode. It really sets the story up well, but it doesn't really give us a whole lot of new information. So there was a lot of just sort of, oh yeah, they're over here, they're in this place, they're in this place, these are here, they're here, and that's sort of letting us know where the players are, or letting us know really that they're in place for the end game. The players are in place now, and where they're in place for this end game, but it's not really giving us anything new. We're not really progressing with the story. It was almost like a wasted hour. But however, regardless of that, the overall rating that I'm giving this episode is a 7 out of 10. Because it was good, as I said, it was good, but it wasn't fantastic. It's not quite as great as where we left off in Season 6. However, Season 6's ending, Episode 9 and 10, were probably the best episodes this show has ever produced. And I gave them both 10 out of 10, I think. But it's going to be very difficult for any of the episodes this season to rival that, unless they give us something that was just as great as last season. So thank you very much for watching, guys. My name's Joe, and I just really want to thank you for watching this review. And if you are watching my reviews for the first time, welcome, really. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a loyal sort of watcher of my reviews, thank you very much for sticking with me, and I will see you all next time.